It's time now for our call of the day. State Street downgraded at KBW. Market perform. Firm lowers the price target to $91. The shares are down more than 20% from their recent highs in January. Joe, I wanted to use this segment not only to talk about this particular name, but go big or go small when it comes to the financials.
Go small as it relates to the financials. Go small as it relates to the financials. State Street, buy this call. They're going through a digital transformation. They just did a secondary offering. They bought Charles River, which the street didn't like, for $2.6 billion. They suspended $950 million of buybacks. But this is a digital transformation that will take hold. I like the strategy of what they're doing. It's the same thing as Morgan Stanley saying to 16,000 financial advisors, here's the algorithms we want you to understand. We want you to use machine learning. As it relates to go big or go small, absolutely go small. And that really is about the rule changes that we're going to see from Volcker. You're going to see more market making on the part of smaller banks, and banks with less than $50 billion worth in assets. They are going to be the beneficiaries of the CCAR changes that the Fed's going to implement.
It depends on the client and it depends on the investor, because small works, I think, for the more aggressive investor. And I understand that there's a certain level of safety, but I think you'd have to diversify among a number of those smaller financial institutions. I also think there's still money to be made in the Goldman Sachs and JP Morgans of the world. I think
if trading gets better.
Well, but, you know, you look at Goldman's valuation, and at 1.3 times book, I don't think it's all that bad. I mean, they've been through a lot of the problems, and I think that given their position, that's one that I'm going to own for a long time. On the State Street deal, this seems like old advice to me. You just don't buy the big merger. This is a big new merger. They've got to figure out how to integrate it. The Street didn't like it to start out with, and there's a whole lot that can go wrong there.
What about the buyback floodgates opening for the big banks as being a momentum driver for the name, Steve, along with rates if we think they're going to tick higher?
I think they're very helpful. Their share-based smart caps are so huge, it has a minimal effect. And I also believe that's been part of the thesis that people have owned it for a long time. However, as you know, I sized up Bank America fairly sizably last week and the week before. But one name I'm looking at is Jefferies. Jefferies reported a phenomenal quarter. In full disclosure, they're my prime broker, and they do just an unbelievable job for me, as good as any other has ever done, including Goldman. And Goldman's right at the top. So you've got a very smart guy that runs the firm, who you know, Rich Handler, tremendous risk manager. I like Jefferies quite a bit.
I wonder if Jefferies now has to make a disclosure about a greater than 10% client making a comment, but that's okay, Steve. No, listen, I'll answer your question. I think you go big, but it's not because the go small is the wrong call. It's just, to me, the better of the call, because when I look at financials, I value them on book value. And I just see such discounts, particularly Citigroup and Bank of America, to book value, that it's very compelling. Now, on the State Street's call, two things. First off, it trades at about 2.5 times book value, so it's out for me. Yes. But I like this analyst call because he's not coming out there saying selling it. He's aware that it's already gone down quite a bit. It trades at not too high of a PDE multiple. He's just saying market perform. He's saying, look, the market is speaking. This Charles River acquisition is not being perceived well, and until that changes, stay out of the name.
Right.
You made a good call.
I am long
Last point.
I'm long Bank of America. I think some large
I'm not arguing.
Large cap money center banks can work. But again, let's point out, the other advantage that these regional banks have is the domestic focus, and you don't have to worry about the international concerns that have been the legacy story for names like Citi and for JP Morgan. That's where the troubles are outside the U.S.